Good morning, YouTubers. It's a Sunday, and I just want to highlight a new article that came out a couple days ago on Yahoo. And just to point out that there's probably going to be more devaluations against the dollar in Latin America. Here's just a few more clues of what's going on. Anyways, here it is. There's a new wave of capital flight from Latin America, and Miami is reaping a windfall. That's usually where Latin Americans allocate capital when they put their money offshore. Usually they put it in the US or Europe. It used to be they put capital in Uruguay. That's kind of changed over the years. Anyways, I'll just read a little bit of the story. An old joke says the mayor of Miami should build a monument to Fidel Castro, Hugo Chavez, and other Latin American dictators whose disastrous policies triggered a stampede of capital flight to the city. Anyways, it says, well, the old joke is resurfacing but with more characters. This time, Mexico's populist president, AMLO, Peru's leftist president, Pedro Castillo, Colombia's leftist frontrunner for the 2022 elections, Gustavo Petro, among others. And I'm surprised they haven't gotten the El Salvadoran guy in there and the Brazilian guy. Anyways, here we go. Here's more. According to Miami real estate and banking executives, Mexico, Peru, and Colombia and Chile are now the leading sources of foreign money coming into the city, surpassing traditional sources of foreign capital such as Venezuela, Argentina, and Brazil. It's probably going to be more capital coming out of Brazil in the future. And then here we go. I'm going to continue. We have seen an uptick in sales to Latin Americans in the second half of 2021, said this CEO from a real estate firm. But he says the top sources are Mexico, Colombia, and Peru. That does not surprise me in the least. Peru just raises tax on foreign companies or foreign miners from under 50% to over 50%. So you're going to see a lot of investment go down in like Peru. Capital improvements aren't going to come in. They're just going to let the businesses decline with higher, I would guess, with higher taxes. Anyways, the article goes on to say the latest influx of Latin American money to Miami is mostly because of political and economic instability. I'd agree with that. Here we go. Here's more. Many fear that the central banks are going to devalue against dollars, which I think is true, especially in Mexico and Brazil, I would say. Anyways, it says Mexico has been a consistent buyer of Miami real estate in the last 18 months. Here's something people don't know. In Chile, something like 10% of the GDP has been exported to the United States. So whatever that is in dollar terms, 10%. It's 9 point something percent, but almost 10% of their GDP has been put offshore. Anyways, according to this, in Chile, which according to the UN's Human Development Index is Latin America's most developed country, investors have been sending growing amounts of money abroad since the violent social protests in 2019. This year, capital outflows reached new highs as many wealthy Chileans fear that leftist candidate Gabriel Boric is going to win the election. He might. It's pretty close. Same thing in Colombia. Same thing in Peru. So according to this, Latin Americans have moved 128 billion out of their countries in 2021. Whereas in Asia, capital is kind of flowing in. So what we're seeing basically is capital is flowing out of Latin America into the United States and Canada and Europe, I would guess. And I just want to point out that what they're not saying in this article is that people are buying real estate, they're buying dollars, they're buying gold. But one thing that they're not saying in this article is they're buying Bitcoin. And that's what's going to happen in Latin America. And as this capital goes out, they're not going to be as competitive on the world stage. So it's kind of sad to see this. But this is typically what happens when Latin America raises taxes. But mainly, this article goes on to say they're increasing the money supply quite a bit, and that's devaluing the currencies. The currencies are going down against the dollar. So from Brazil to Mexico to Colombia, I want to say they've, in Argentina, they've had the deepest devaluations in Latin America so far. I expect that to continue, maybe with the exception of Venezuela, because Venezuela is now kind of dollarizing their economy, so you might not see anything there. But as this happens, they're not going to develop their economies, so that's going to push migrants out of the country into North America. It's also going to push capital into North America. It's also going to push capital into Bitcoin and what I call the metaverse, or whatever you want to call it. But more and more capital is going to go into the metaverse, and it's going to go into North America. It's why when I talk about my lifestyle of living in Latin America or Asia or whatever, but don't buy real estate in these countries. Don't invest heavily in these countries unless it's electronically and you can get your capital out fast. A lot of people in the United States, especially Canada and the United States, they buy homes without really thinking it through, without wondering if they ever put capital controls on how they're going to get the real estate out. You can't. If the politics change and things continue to move to the left, more to the left, foreigners are going to be used as a scapegoat more and more. So you have to have a willingness to leave quickly and quietly if you ever need to. That's why I suggest, people have, gold offshore, Bitcoin offshore. If you don't like gold, just buy Bitcoin and dollar accounts offshore so you can leave quickly and quietly and move on with your life as some of these countries continue to push these. I wouldn't say it's not just a left-wing narratives. It's also they're pushing an inflationary policy, which enriches the people with assets or wealthy people and impoverishes the poor in general because the poor don't have assets. This is happening even in Brazil. And as we've seen outside of Latin America, it's happening big time in Turkey. Turkey is just doubling down on their inflationary policies, which is just going to eat up the poor and the middle classes. And the middle classes who have skills and talents will leave. The poor who don't, they'll just leave and see what happens, in their next country. But anyways, I just wanted to bring this article to point out how there's a lot of capital flight in Latin America right now. And I would suggest not investing in real estate, not investing in assets you can't sell real fast and get out of the country. I tend to have a PT outlook on the world, like live in one country, bank in another country, have a business in yet another country, but basically not having all your eggs in one country so you can get out and go to a better opportunity as they present themselves. Anyways, that's it for now. Like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks.